ask like what exactly is happening within the finance industry. So AI does not just have impact in one particular field, or I will just say that, see, we are accountants and we do your bookkeeping. So AI is only helping us in bookkeeping or data entry or record keeping. So it's not as
But
that.
then there will always be somewhere there who would say, wait a minute, we're in finance, sensible data. I cannot just drop my customer data there and let him summarize something. How do we do that? So the first thing, and it depends on the country.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to our 5th episode of AI Leap Maker. We're facing an interesting challenge, a new industry, a new format also we have since our 4th episode. And in this episode, we're exploring what happens with AI agents audits your books, maybe do a little bit further. How does the collaboration look like? How is the future of the industry looking like? But first, we look from the current state at the time being. And the structure we have it as that every episode we pair an industry leaders and with who sees the pressure, who sees what's happening firsthand, with an AI expert architect who can re-engineer the solution, who can give the other side of the equation. And together they blend in on the ground the know-how with the next wave of tech, exposing what's working, what's broken, and where the future is headed. And in this episode, I'm happy to have our two guests, Muhammad Kaleem, with 15 years experience in audit, advisory with current firm, but before that with Mazar and multiple more. Currently with BSA auditing in that, delivering end-to-end compliance, tax, bookkeeping, and strategy across the Middle East and GCC. And on the other side, we have Adrian, our in-house guest and co-host, which for me, as I mentioned again and again, is one of the top architects of AI, have great experience on 20 years heading globally AI projects as well as the AI expansions and digitalization within Hapag-Lloyd's, which is one of the biggest logistics company in the world. So basically knows and understand what it takes from prototyping into adopting in the real world. So yeah, thank you both for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Yasser, for having us.
Thank you so much, Yasser.
Okay.
Pleasure to be.
Thank you. So maybe we start, and I think with our main guest, with you, Kalim. And what is the current state? So maybe to get like a pulse check at the moment on, because from our side, as well as many viewers would be looking at it globally or from Europe side, how is the current state of financial services in the Middle East? How is it being developing from your point of view in the last few years?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity. And it's really a pleasure to be here and talking about, especially a topic which a lot of people are scared still, I believe, AI. So what is it, especially in our industry, finance industry, and when AI was announced that now we have a new version of AI, we have so most of the people or finance professionals, they were scared that maybe we will lose our jobs. I don't know if other industries were scared or not, but I believe accountants were the most scared people from AI. And even then, I used to say, and I was a huge advocate of, let's see, it's not about different platforms. It's how you use that platform, how you make yourself aware of that platform, or how you make the application of that platform into your professional life. So this is how it all depends on that. And the background, definitely, I was also I'm with also a finance background, starting my career with Big Four and top 10 auditing firms. And I started this company in 2020 in Dubai. And now we have presence in different emirates within UAE, and also we have presence in Oman as well. So within the region, definitely we have that kind of a presence, or at least I have that kind of a presence or connections that I know what exactly is happening within the region. So as you have asked, like what exactly is happening within the finance industry. So AI does not just have impact in one particular field, or I will just say that, see, we are accountants and we do your bookkeeping. So AI is only helping us in bookkeeping or data entry or record keeping. So it's not as that. So AI has definitely helped us a lot. Let me take you 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, when we started our profession, so we used to do obviously used to do some kind of testing or sampling. And what we used to do, we used to prepare big data sheets, the physical sheets like register. We used to prepare those, and then came the spreadsheet, Excel. So were we scared at that time, like now Excel is there and we will lose our jobs? No, we were not. We were happy, in fact, that now whatever we have been doing in days, maybe we can do in hours. So this was my question to most of the finance professionals. Were you scared at that time when Excel was introduced and you were used to do manual spreadsheets? Nobody was scared at that time, but everybody was happy. So why we are scared from AI now? AI is also making our lives easier. So it means that we have to learn AI, that how AI can help us, not just in data entry, but how to interpret those numbers. And this is what I believe, that being accountants, it not just that means that we have to do the data entry, just taking the data from the businesses and then putting it into accounting softwares. This is not the job of an accountant. So accountant is somebody who's adding value, who's actually translating those numbers, that what exactly those numbers are saying and how those numbers or understanding those numbers can help any business or an entrepreneur grow. That's our job. And that job can be done best by the use of AI. Big Four, definitely, or top 10, you can say that, because they have budgets, so they can easily adopt any kind of change within the industry. But for small and medium-sized firms, sometimes they have to make the use of how they can better use that platform and the cost benefit analysis. So all of these things they have to consider. But still, what they have to consider is that if this platform is going to have any kind of benefit, obviously it has benefit, the efficiency, how they can get efficiency, and how they can reduce the cost of the existing systems within their organizations. But I'm happy that most of the firms within UAE, they have adopted AI in different forms.
Okay, that's an interesting point. So maybe we would love to dive into that, maybe also from your first-hand experience. So what are the current places where there is maybe fear, because you explored that topic, right? If it is still, or maybe it's more now more open adoption. But besides that, so where, if there is fear, where is that? And if there is adoption already, where is that?
Fine. See, fear was simply, I told you, like most of the accountants or finance professionals, they thought maybe they will lose their jobs because now AI will take care of each and everything. So they'll lose their job. That was one of worries of the finance professionals. Otherwise, obviously the cost effectiveness, because adopting AI or anything which is new to the market, so that will have some cost. So maybe that was one of the reasons that most of the firms, they couldn't adopt AI to the level where they should have adopted AI in their processes. Or maybe another thing was the resources. So resources also, they have to be adaptable. They have to be welcoming, or they should have that kind of the fire inside them that we want to learn something new, and that's how we can add value. So that urge to learn something. So if you have those kind of resources, obviously that then there's no hurdle in adopting new AI into your companies. So these 2 or 3 factors, I think, were the most worrisome points for the finance professional in this industry. But I think slowly now people, they have changed, or they have accepted the fact that they have to use AI, and without using AI, maybe they'll be far behind their competitors. Obviously, we are living in, and especially within GCC, you have huge competition, fierce competition. So within that, with that, in that kind of industry, obviously you have to be ahead of that curve. And how you can be ahead of that curve? This is the only way where you can adopt these kind of platforms, which are making your life easier and which is adding more value to your customers and to your clients. So if I was able to deliver one report in a month, so now maybe same report I can deliver in 4 times a month or once a week. I can do that. So obviously, if I am making my clients up to date with what's happening in their businesses, so obviously their business will survive. If their business will survive, I will retain that customer. So now comes to how and what exactly companies or the businesses are doing to adopt, or finance professionals or auditing firms or accounting firms they're doing. So it started with accounting softwares. So accounting softwares were there to help you now. What you can do, you can just upload a piece of paper and it will grab all the information from there. So that was the basics of how we can make use of AI by reducing a data entry operator's time instead of checking each and everything in detail. So now you just scan your document and you will get all of the information in your accounting system. Secondly, reconciliations. What you can do, you can just upload your bank statements. From those bank statements, systems will automatically take up all the information. And what you have to do is you have to click and match that information, and that's it. Nothing else was there. So this was very basic thing which was introduced within this profession. And I think a lot of accountants, a lot of companies, they have taken benefit of this basic thing that has reduced, obviously. So from there, you're starting your accounting, or base of anything is your data entry. So if data entry is error free, there are no errors, it means that the reliability on that data is now enough, that you can easily rely on data. Dependency on data is now good, that you don't have any kind of doubts about the accuracy or completeness of the data. So now next thing was preparation of financial statements in different various forms. You can now make analysis what exactly is happening. Revenue is increasing, your expenses are increasing, or expenses are decreasing, or revenue is increasing but receivables are decreasing. So what exactly is happening within the business? So those insights were now easier to get from the data. So everything was why what's happening, or if there's anything change with comparison to the previous periods or previous years. So everything was in front of you now. So AI has helped you, instead of you spending time or any resource spending time and making the justifications or the findings or observations that this is what's happening. So AI was there to help you understand, or just bring within seconds, bring everything, the whole picture in front of you. Obviously, that was helping the business owners to make informed and timely decisions. So this is what I have always focused on, that being professionals or being finance professionals. So what we have to do, we have to provide the timely and right information to the business owners. Because if you're not providing timely information and the right information, that person cannot make good decision. If your information is correct, not timely, no use. If your information is timely but not correct, even then there's no use of that information. So information has to be right and timely. So that's how AI is helping finance professionals to produce that timely and right information, so business owners they can make the right decisions. Apart from that, business models, feasibility studies, whatever you want to do with AI. Apart from let's move to another interesting point. I believe like most of the accountants, majority of the accountants, unfortunately, they lack interpersonal skills or communication skills or presentation skills sometimes. And I have always worked on that thing, that our finance professionals, they should also work not just on the international financial reporting standards or international standards, on auditing or accounting standards, quality standards. So not just that, but obviously you need to learn your soft skills. You have to improve your soft skills, the communication skills, the presentation skills. Like I mentioned earlier, what happens if you have numbers but you are unable to translate those numbers or make the other person understand? Because not everybody or all the business owners, they are financially literate. So they're good in business, they're good in their particular fields, but not really what's happening, what is debit, what is credit, what are assets, what are liabilities. So cannot understand the language of finance. So that's our responsibility, being accountants or finance professionals, to tell them, say, this is the language of finance and this is what it's saying. So if I lack those things, now ChatGPT is there to help me make the whole scenario, the story behind those numbers, and just go and read that story in front of that business owner. And that's it. Nothing else I have to do. You can now make presentations using AI. Very good kind of presentations. Like obviously before using PPT, and you had to do everything from beginning, and then we had templates. But now even you don't have to work on templates. You just give the instructions and AI will do everything for you. So it means that AI has helped not just finance professionals, but everybody. It has made everybody's life very easy.
Yeah. And just to tell you also, like, and I would love to dig one point deeper here, and then maybe also like ask or like bring Adrian. I want to tell you this like completely transparent, that I believe that like from our last conversation that we had, me and you, Kalim, and I see that you mentioned the fire to adopt and to really be in the on the cutting edge of that, and I sense that from you, and I believe that's why I really admire that, and I'm proud and happy to have you as our actually first guest from the region. And I believe that's the reason BSA has been growing the way it's growing in the last 5 years, and I can assure everyone here that it will grow even more in the next coming period.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes.
And so to dig deeper on this, and you mentioned a wide array of aspects, a wide array of use cases, to dig deeper into from other like firm owners, partners, etc. How could they navigate all of this? Like how are they navigating, but how could they? Like what is or would be your kind of structure to navigate through this? And this is also why it's good that we have Adrian with us, is like how can they handle that without as much AI expertise or knowledge? How would you, or how are you dealing with it?
Perfect. I think yes, Adrian definitely would be the right person to ask this question from. But from my point of view, as I mentioned, like see, there are a few worries of the industry or the finance profession, like how they can adopt AI. So I'm saying that it's not just not a hard and fast rule that, see, you have to adopt this portion and then this one and then you should go there. There's no pathway. So it's just whatever you are doing. If you are an accountant, so you should know how to use an AI. We have a lot of platforms now. A lot of accounting softwares, they have already adopted AI or integrated AI into their systems already. So you don't have to worry about anything. So now the only thing is that you should know how to use that accounting software. Right? Accounting software, you just have to upload your document, PDF format, or you just scan and upload or take a picture even. You upload your document, and now AI is helping you translating that document into data. You're an auditor. So what an auditor has to do, first of all, audit planning. So audit planning, how you can do audit planning just by putting all the data, all the information available to you regarding that particular client. Say, this is the client I'm going to do. So tell me the stages or the steps what I should follow, and you will get each and everything step by step. That this is the first step. You should be doing this, and then this, and then this. So you can obviously adopt that, perform your audit in a very well mannered way, in a structured way. Apart from that, before, what we used to do, like I mentioned earlier, we used to prepare huge spreadsheets, right? And sometimes we used to glue them together because they were so long, the procedures were so long that was not coming on just one page. So we had to prepare 2 pages and then combine them together. So what's happening now? You have to do sampling. So sampling is also done through AI. You put all the data. So that kind of the errors or the negligence, or you can say like oversight. I will not say negligence, but I will say oversight, because there are few elements or transactions which you should be picking in your samples. So that was, you were not really aware that this transaction, I should look into this transaction. So now AI helps you in understanding or taking that thing into your sample, that you should check this transaction. Maybe they could be wrong, or there's something unusual apart from the whole population. So this is one of the transaction I think which you should be looking at, because this is unusual transaction. Otherwise, it's not really easy. Thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of transactions. So it's not easier to pick your sample. So AI is helping you say this, and this should be your sample size. And that sample size you can populate to the whole population of the transactions. So making your life easier. You are a financial analyst. I mentioned earlier, financial analyst. So you have to make the analysis what those numbers are saying. So AI is now helping you in understanding better, making those analysis, what's happening, business valuations, feasibility studies. So each and every aspect of finance has a different use of AI and has a different adoption of AI, a different way. But yes, AI is the need of time. Without AI, I don't think so that you can deliver what your customer is requiring from you, because a customer wants everything just in seconds.
Yeah, faster, cheaper, better.
Yeah, I want report yesterday. So now what do? You don't have resources. So the best resource at the moment you have is definitely AI, incorporating AI, and obviously you have to. It does not mean that you invest millions of dollars or millions of dirhams in AI. It's just what is your appetite and how that will be adding value in your processes. So you just have to evaluate that and just adopt AI. Just a small example, when ChatGPT came, so a lot of people started using ChatGPT for creation of their content or the post descriptions on social media, right? And then what happened? People started saying that, "Oh, this is generated by ChatGPT. This is generated by ChatGPT." But is it just easier to generate anything from ChatGPT? No, it's not. You have to give proper instructions that, see, this is what I want, and this is what I want, and how to use that data what ChatGPT has given you. That's also a skill, that how to present that data. And then came the pictures, that you can not just create the text, but you can also create pictures. That then everybody starts saying, this picture is created by ChatGPT. This is created by AI. And everybody stopped thinking about or complaining about the text generated by that. And then videos came along, and then everybody stopped complaining about video, pictures, and text. So it's just adoption. We have to adopt it.
Yeah.
It's not taboo to use AI. Even for a smaller thing, you have to use AI. For research purposes, you have to use AI. Before, I used to spend a lot of time researching on Google. Now I don't have to do that. I just go, I tell that, see, this is what I want. I want to talk about AI. So ChatGPT will give me a lot of things that, see, this is the best website. Maybe you can go and you can get the details from here, or this is the best way to plan. Everything is there. So any profession, especially accountants and finance professionals, they have to understand how that AI can help them add value within their businesses or to those people to whom they're providing their services to.
But you indeed did give a good example, which could be also used as a metaphor, which is the one for posting. So exactly. So for someone who used to post and have good writing skills, like before ChatGPT, now that ChatGPT is here, like the standard is up. Everyone is
can
onto
define
that
exactly.
level. Exactly. So that means not growing is not a choice anymore. So the standard is simply growing up, which brings us.
Yes, adoption of AI is not a choice.
Yeah.
I can say that.
Yeah. Which brings us to Adrian. So Adrian, how would you take the hands or how would you bring your own knowledge into like blueprints and like a roadmap or blueprints in first steps for such clients or for such firms from your perspective as a builder?
Yeah, thank you. I think, first of all, it needs what we just did now. So Kalim, thank you very much. You did a great job to highlight the value, the benefit, and the promises of AI. And then still, the first question is then, but how do we start? And of course, you can tell, oh, there are so many tools nowadays that you can use, like ChatGPT, for several reasons. Then the second, then there will always be somewhere there who would say, wait a minute, we're in finance, sensible data. I cannot just drop my customer data there and let him summarize something. How do we do that? So the first thing, and it depends on the countries, right? European Union, Germany, safety first, right? USA is more relaxed on that, but I think you cannot really be relaxed because your customers, of course, trust that you secure their IP, and if you have your hands on their transactions, you basically more or less have NDAs signed, so you cannot just drop in some kind of a tool that solves a part of your story. One approach is, of course, having like a SaaS application for accounting, where well, you still need basically some kind of a legal signed statement that they will not sell your data, they will work trustworthy with your data, and there's much of a risk appetite because a signed paper is a signed paper. You don't even want to get to the point where you have to sue someone. So I think I expect that a lot of companies in the second step will basically ask, okay, I want all these benefits. How can I do them secure so I don't have to get headaches in answering basically my clients why their details suddenly appear as part of some newspaper news. So and there will be basically a give and take where you have to decide which informations need to be kept secure, and you have to keep the IP secure of your clients, your own IP as well. So there you will basically have to decide, do I head for a available SaaS application, means cloud application, and do I check where they basically are serving this and storing the data? Is the data transient? So how solid are they and how mature are they? Everybody says, well, I will take care of your data, right? That's not the problem. The question is, are they able to do that? And many of the solutions and products we see on the market, these are startups, young companies. They don't even know what they don't know, right? So that's a challenge basically when you try to help a company to adopt AI. And as I said, in the second step, they will basically want to have answers for that concerns. And then you basically have to keep this IP and PI, intellectual property and personal information. And of course, regulations are also there. Like if you basically deal with China and you run your workload on the cloud, there is a legal regulation where you have to serve the data in China, Vietnam as well. So there are details there when you run such systems, and especially then if you're using a SaaS application for part of a process, you have to question that, right? How do they cover that? And then you have to close also the gap between the value and what does it take to integrate it in my company. At the end, and you see it by the amount of words I'm using to explain this, right? Oh, they're still overwhelmed. So the question is still there. Okay, thank you. I understand everything important, but where do I start? So the first, and I ignored quite some aspects right now. So the first thing is to give them a start where the value is big, is tangible for them, it is understandable in their domain, and the costs and risks are minimal. Because the first thing, as you said, the only thing that you can do wrong right now is not to adopt AI. Yeah, say it in another way, just do it. Don't matter where you start, just do it. Well, in the end, then you have to start, and the question comes again. And searching for this, and this basically matches what Yasser's initial question, searching this lowest big hanging fruit, right? Identifying that fast is one of the first steps that you do in such a round, and you have to basically take in consideration the understanding of the company, of the persons in the room, because it is humans who will decide and work with that and have to have a good feeling about that. By that, ChatGPT is something everybody understood. So thank you very much, OpenAI. I cannot tell you what a hard time it was to explain everybody. AI is there. We can do anomaly detection, all that you have described. And they said, yeah, actually, I don't understand what you're talking about. And maybe, and then ChatGPT appeared and they could put their hands on that and said, this guy is answering me like a human. Cool. AI is really real. Yes, it is real since a few years already. But what happened is that they are basically, they need something when you tell them, okay, go to your accountant. You already described that use case in data capturing, right? So you basically tell them, you can basically stop typing, so reading the receipts or invoices and type the stuff in your software. We can activate feature for automatically ingesting that. You said that is already a while there. That's true. On the other hand, till today, the accuracy is far away from 100%, right? So they barely, what I see basically in experience, they barely recognize the invoice number, sometimes okay, sometimes not, the company name, sometimes okay, sometimes not. You have the taxation, there are a lot of details, and my experience is they get like 70%. They even dare to touch only 70%, and from that they are 70% correct. So as an accountant, you still have to check, okay, what have you captured, and then maybe fix. But it still reduces, or not saying that it's killing the business case, right? So the value, it's reducing the reading, searching yourself piece by piece, and you just have to check the delta, and most of the time you say, okay, or just correct one thing, okay. So you reduce the effort from 100% to maybe 30%. And that's a huge thing to do. But there's room with Gen AI. I don't see it right now fully adopted in the SaaS area, but still it will happen. You can increase the accuracy there. So we will see basically that it's not only 50 or 70% of the details in the invoice captured, but they can capture like 90% of it and are correct in 80 or sometimes even 90%. It will come. I didn't see it yet there. And if you take this kind of a use case, I took this because it's easy to understand. It's something that has to be done in volumes. So it kills a lot of FTE. So human manual work, right? And it has a certain maturity in the field of AI because we basically just improve it with Gen AI. It's already there, it's integrated, mature companies have it there. So if you take something like that, this is something I'm just making a template of an example of a big hanging fruit, right? It is big because it happens a lot. A lot of invoices, like you said, millions of transactions, someone ignoring all the digital automated transactions, but everything that comes per paper or per mail or unstructured, has to be captured, and this happens a lot. So you basically can reduce the effort there by 10%, and you're reducing 10% of, I don't know, 20,000 manual events per day. So you can count how many FTEs, like person days you are serving there. This is understandable, tangible for everybody. And you can translate that in dollar. That's very important. You have to translate it in dollar. And is understandable for the users and also immediately easy. The last part, easy integratable, because it can boil down to a question of, we just pay that, I don't know, $20 or $200 more for this Gen AI add-on feature. To improve that. Done. I've just described basically identifying a business case, so a starting use case with big value, with low risk, because you are in an area where you're still in a system that you already have, that is secure already, and with a big enough benefit Yeah, you increase accuracy by 10% or automation rate by 10% in a big area, then you have it. And this is something that the whole company will feel, especially an audit and accounting company, because the main business, they will feel immediately. And this will have a feedback loop of trust. They will also trust, we can handle that. And the next step will be you from there. For example, when you do this matching, you said, I think reconciliation is I don't know the English part. This is also working okay, but my experience in the current SaaS area, see kind of, I think in 30% of the cases, automated reconciliation works. Out of that, I have to correct roughly 10%. Because same but different, and sometimes there's still the information is not there, so you need basically out of the computer context to understand okay, what is this transaction about, information that the computer just don't have, a SaaS computer that just don't have. And to do that step, you will see that it will be basically hard for them to find a solution that solves that problem. Why? Because what happens on the how the transaction has happened. It came in splitted. It came in with a wrong description, or I had something that actually was about a refund from Amazon, and landed as a transaction from my bank. Just by the number and knowing about the story, I could basically say, this is about that invoice, payback. No chance for a closed system to identify that out of the data. Now you have to add basically more information source. So have an AI that is not only encapsulated in your accounting system, but basically is outside of your accounting system, and basically can read your mails, your communication, other documents, and has a chance to make such a conclusion. And there you will basically start to ask, okay, you understood the value of AI. You understood that it can work for us and make us faster. Now we have basically more complex things that we have to have our own AI. And then the question will be on-prem, bring your own cloud. So you have to start basically to build something for your own, for security, for risk mitigation purposes, right? And there you basically need, you start to need expert advice. But good news there is that you can, since you have the trust, so you learned the value, you have the trust, you have the drive, right? Then the only thing that you should not do, try to build up your own, get your IT, if you have a big IT, and say, you do now AI. No, these guys are busy to keeping the systems running, right? The best way to do is bring in external expert consulting companies, do your due diligence in selecting the right one, and use them as an accelerators. They will basically bring in and solve 2-3 lighthouse projects where they automate this more challenging things that you cannot just buy because they're not yet there, right? And you end up with a first layer of platform with already deployed solutions that are solving problem, delivering value, and they have done it with your IT because it has to be integrated somehow to the data, and your IT has been educated. Your business people, so subject matter experts, I call them, have been educated. You have a project structure, how such a project works, how long it takes, how much it costs. And you will end up with, it can cost you 100,000, it can cost you 2 million. You will have everything on the plate. And I tell you, don't go for the 2 million unless you have billions in your bank, right?
But Adrian,
you don't need that much.
Adrian, sorry to interrupt.
Then
I just wanted to take a step back because, and then we will go into this, right? But I want to see what's happening in reality, right? Because this is all good on paper, and it's of course depending on the size, on, as Muhammad Kaleem also mentioned, depending on the budget, depends. For example, the big fours how they do it is definitely.
I have to contradict here. It's not on the paper. It's lived reality. But continue now.
But exactly. So I don't have a point of view, but I just want to ask. This is what I want to target the question then to Kalim back, which is two ways. So you mentioned trust, you mentioned adoption and all of that, but I want to see how it's happening in reality, because there's two ways of adoption, right? So there is the SaaS way, so existing tools that you just adopt, and there is the built-in way, which is you also, I think you mentioned also both ways, Adrian. And I want to explore how both adoptions from both ways look like right now. And I have two assumptions, and I want to ask you, Kalim, to either deny or maybe expand on them. So first assumption when it comes to SaaS, I would assume that maybe it's already felt, or maybe would be felt in future, that there is a wide array of tools, and simply put, you need every time to train the employees, the staff, to adopt it, and it fragments basically the whole workflow. So you have one tool doing this, you add more tools, and it becomes a little bit too much. This is my assumption for like the tool side. And for the building side, I would assume that, for example, depending on the size of the firm, maybe this is something that they're not really going with most of the time. But I'm not sure if it's changing right now with AI. Let me know what you think about both.
Okay, so let me just understand the question. So
Mhm.
there are two ways, obviously. One is that just the implementation part, right? And then the other one is the operation, right?
In a way, it's both implementation, operation, but just two ways of doing it. Either adopting existing SaaS tools, for example, like you would say QuickBooks, they would add AI tools and basically we just train people on them, or build completely new systems that are specific. So, for example, like get an IT or get like an external contractor who were an expert in AI and can build something specific, custom made for your company.
Yeah. So, see, from my point of view, it depends again. Like I was saying, that adoption of AI, it depends on how that's adding value and what exactly is your budget. And do you have those resources? So these two or three questions are, I think, essential to ask yourself before going into the practicalities of adopting AI. If you talk about cost effectiveness, obviously the existing platforms, whatever are available in the market, so that's the best way to adopt AI or get the maximum use of those softwares at least. If you don't have anything or a different kind of a creativity that this can also be done by adopting AI. So until you can use the existing platforms and generate those reports, whatever is possible by using those platforms. You have mentioned like QuickBooks or any other software. Now we have accounting softwares which can generate just the very basic kind of accounting results, just the profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow statements, and that's it, right? And then we have those softwares which can generate more clarity, or they can provide you different kind of dashboards. And I mentioned earlier that now if you're a financial analyst, these softwares can also help you in generating the stories behind those numbers or bringing those variations in front of you. So this is what we have observed, and this is what we have seen. So this is obviously that's one of the things. Now from those accounting softwares, then we have ERPs. So not the small size firms will not be going for ERPs because they don't see the use or the benefit an ERP can bring into their small businesses. So it means that they are content with the software, with the small software, which can help them just do their accounting and bookkeeping in a proper manner. So like now, the medium-sized firms, they will look for ERPs or customized software. They will look for that. And even multinational company, bigger companies, obviously they want to go for SAP or Oracle, Microsoft kind of software. So they obviously they can afford. So it always is the need, the requirement you have, obviously. And now we are kind of a mid-tier firm within Middle East. So now the kind of clients we have, they have different kind of expectations from us. And each client has a different expectation. I will tell you that we have now different accounting clients. Now, one of the accounting clients just says that, see, I just need the basic information, just put all of my data in my accounting software and submit my tax returns in time. And that's it. I don't need anything else. Now, for that particular client, if I would say, no, I will give you something extra. So AI can generate these things for you. Obviously, that will be of no use for that person because that person is not inclined towards getting any further information. So now I have to assess that what kind of clients I have, what are their requirements. So based on those requirements, definitely I have to see what exactly I have to do. If I just have to use those softwares which are available in the market, or I have to bring a different kind of a customized software. But obviously, being finance professionals, because we are not IT professionals, some of finance professionals, they are very good in IT, but majority of them are not. So in that case, I would definitely suggest that if at least you can get advice from an IT expert or an AI expert who can help you understand the requirements, that this platform could be very good for you, or the kind of reports you want to generate for your clients. So this could be the best option for you. Like now, we have accounting software, as I mentioned. Like we have accounting softwares. Most of the people, they don't really understand what kind of accounting software they should be using. So based on the requirements, we suggest this is the best possible option for you, and you should not be spending too much on any just accounting software. So just this is enough for your requirements. So similarly, AI experts or IT experts, they can guide us finance professionals that say this is how you can use an AI tool, and whatever are your requirements, this can be fulfilled with this software. So it's a very subjective matter, I believe, what exactly you should do. And Adrian has also mentioned in his views that definitely people, they have to understand their requirements, and based on those requirements, they have to take actions. But AI is not an option again.
Which bring me to the last topic that I want to discuss in maybe this last 5 minutes, which is the shift. And Adrian mentioned this also, mentioned that there is certain things that simply a SaaS tool does not have the extent of capabilities or knowledge to go and get further context or whatever to really add to the certainty of the output. And here I want to explore then how it looks like going from software and SaaS into agents. And I think this is definitely something we explore in the upcoming events, which Kalim, you would be with us. But here to you, Adrian. So how would that look like, going from just taking certain workflow into replacing exactly what a human does? So the human, for example, you mentioned the example of looking into the Amazon receipts and basically understanding it. The human would probably go and ask you, like if you had like an accountant or whatever, go and ask you, get context, come back, input it. So how is that changing? What kind of changes, what kind of shift do you see when it comes to SaaS compared to AI agent? Is it a big kind of shift, or is it just smaller improvement?
No, I think that DaaS has been the big thing. Now DaaS is trying to catch up because they cannot give up all the investment they did to add AI, and it works to some extent, but due to the locked-in problem, it will not basically survive. ERP would be basically just go the next step and have a solution that consolidates all the information flow, and not everybody can allow that. So I think we can see already the RPA thing that has been introduced as with a promise. We are basically tapping in all your system, you can basically bring all the information. You don't have to have an IT or whatever to build something. You can orchestrate the tools that you have and cover things that basically are not solved in your tools. But at the end, RPA's robot is always telling us, oh, it's intelligent. No, sorry, it's a macro. It's just a workflow. But still, it basically shows it's very similar to what agents are about to do. Their job will be to be independent of specific tools, right? That will still be, let me say, important even in future. Why? If you look at it as humans, there is a reason why we have experts in finance, experts in medicine, right? So it makes sense to have specialization, and so the tools will remain. The orchestration of the tools at a certain level of granularity will be basically taken over by agents, and agents, in difference to RPAs, bring in basically the AI momentum into that. Now, it's not like this is just given, so you have to still build it. And there are two components that you need there. The one is the right understanding of the information. So it's not enough just to be able to tap into your mail account, your documents, your accounting tool, your summarization tool, whatever. It is important that you have as a system, now I'm talking you as an agent, that the agent has a semantical understanding of what the informations are and how they are related to each other. And this is basically the big leap forward that we experience right now. And this is one of the components that will happen. I don't know, technically, there is this term RAG, right? A retrieval augmented generation, where basically you have the LLM model, the ChatGPT that we know. And then we know, okay, these GPT models are frozen. They are basically trained with a lot of information, but is a worldwide generic information. And it doesn't have a clue about your specific in-house facts that you need to generate some information. So the reg system is one part where it takes all your documents and informations and compiles it into a database kind of thing that is not just querying by keyword, but by semantic understandings, by similarity of of the request versus the information that are there. So this is the first and naive part. And now we see basically the next level. You have a lot of names for that: graph, reg graph, whatever graph. It's all about graph. It's about knowledge graph. And it's actually, the difference is to generate out of the plethora of information sources a graph where you say, okay, a car has wheels, right? And a king has a crown, and a king has not very much to do has no connection to a car, maybe only that it has a Volvo and the Volvo is a car. So this kind of structures it. And if you bring these two things together, you have a good baseline for an agent to be able to conclude based on a certain input, looking on your transaction, seeing a number, seeing a date, seeing some description that in our case doesn't make sense, has no connection, right? But then basically having in this reg and knowledge data, having a memory of all your information, mails and so on, having the chance, first of all, to find the mails where something was about this value, nothing more it will find in the date range. And then it will basically have a chance, maybe through the graph reg, to find out basically to which invoice actually that was also somewhere in your mails or documents, whatever, it might be related, and give you basically a good assumption of the right connection. And what the agent is doing in all of this, first of all, make sure that it has a concise understanding of your context, and I depicted that. And second, decide on the right tools to basically not only execute, but also collect all this information. So it will basically need tools like we as a human. If I want to have all this knowledge from outside, I will have to read mails. So this is a tool I have to use. I will have to look in the accounting software, a tool what I have to use. This is for information collection, you need tools, but also for executing, right? So to do the reconciliation, you need basically an agent to be able to do the tool. So you have basically this parts of knowledge, then planning, action planning, and tool use to then basically orchestrate and find the right meaning to lead to the right action, and then even check the outcome. This is one thing that most people forget. When you do an action, we check, is it the result they expected?
And we learn from them.
When we do that, there we basically see delta eventually. And there is where learning happens. And this is a fourth part, learning loop. We're not yet there, but agents will basically have to do that. Then you will, we already see that everybody is talking about specialized agents and collaborating agents. This is basically an approach to allow to have precise, accurate, and complete understanding and action in a certain domain. And if you expand this domain too much over many domains, then agents are getting lost, lost. The probabilities are just bigger. So that's a strategy to have more specialized agents and knowledge pools, so domain specialized, and let them collaborate basically and come up with and you see it's actually what we humans are doing. And now we're at the technological stage where we can start to do that. Only think expectations, please not too high. Like it will not basically take over our jobs, like you said, right? They will basically support us with a high enough accuracy to be valuable, to not just kill our time, because we have to check at the end, right? So they're good enough. Earlier, this is automation. Earlier, we could basically hope for a automation increase of 5% per year, 10% maybe. And now, when you implement this kind of a system, you can hope for 30, 50, 70% coverage of the task, right? But we're not yet there. Things are going in that direction.
Which, just to conclude, again, bit mindful of time here. Actually, honestly, it's a big, thick approach, but of course it needs gradual adoption, gradual awareness, and gradual integration. But it's potentially, and I see this from our side, like building this kind of stuff, it's going to help also the margin problems, because I think this is also a big problem when it comes to in general, but of course, but also in the Middle East with competition, as you said, it's very highly competitive. So the faster you can do it, the more accurate, the more you can delegate to AI, the faster, the better the margin is. So I will conclude then with 1 minute question, which is a fun one. That doesn't need to be serious, right? So I would ask Kalim how he would envision, just in a fantasy way, like his current finance sector, like for example an audit or whatever. How can it be done with an advanced AI in 5 years? Or like, sorry, how can that be look in the future? Like your best fantasy, and then Adrian would tell us then again, just as a fun way, how many years would that take us to reach that?
So, no, obviously, future is bright. With AI,
Uh-huh.
definitely is bright. Because, see, it's not just about, as Adrian has mentioned, it's not just about the delivery, but it's about generating results. So, I believe that yes, with the use of AI, we can generate a much better results, which is more meaningful results. Obviously, you cannot just say that AI. Earlier, I mentioned like finance professionals and accountants, they were scared that they will lose their jobs because of AI, but it was contrary to that. So AI is there to help you, to support you. So now, before, if we were neglecting any aspects of the findings, being auditors especially or accountants, so now with the use of AI, we can identify those aspects and incorporate them in our reports, and obviously that will have more weightage, or the reports will have more weightage in front of the users of that information. And especially within UAE, we have now Ministry of Economy, and then we have UAE Artificial Intelligence Office. The, AI has adopted there. Even the government is encouraging that finance professionals, they adopt AI and bring that into use. And see, we're talking about the AI. AI is very expensive, or most of the companies, they have to see if they can adopt it or not. But see, most of the companies, if I'm not exaggerating, maybe I will say that small and medium-sized entities are around like 70, 80, or 90% maybe within the region. So it means that they don't need to spend millions in adoption of AI. So it's just that they have to understand what exactly is the requirement, and from the basics they can start, and obviously then they can understand how AI and at what level they have to include AI into their operations. So it's just that obviously, being finance professional or accountants or auditors, obviously we have to learn how AI can help us. Just see, any kind of a tool which is helping me in reducing the time of delivery is definitely increasing my efficiency, and that's AI. Now, if you say that most of the times when people they come and we ask them, do you know how to use Excel? Still, we use Excel being accountants because we have to make different kind of schedules. So we have to use Excel. So what is Excel? Excel is also kind of an AI, because it has you just give them formula, and it generates results within no time, and doesn't really matter how many rows you have, how many columns you have. So it can generate those results for you. Adoption, that's also adoption. Now, Power BI, all of these things were helping us to generate results in more efficient way. So adoption of AI is definitely helping accountants delivering their reports in a much efficient and effective manner.
Okay. So in one sentence, what would be your fantasy of how would the future where AI is really smart? What would it take do on your company, for example?
Nothing, sitting on the beach and everything is done on its own.
Okay, then Adrian, how many years would take us for us?
Yeah, Adrian should respond to that.
For the beach scenario, I would say at least 10, rather 20.
Okay.
If
It's
at
not far.
all, yeah, you need general AI for
I
that.
hope before my retirement time at least.
No, I think it's there are a lot. Yeah, there are a lot of trials to estimate that. Everybody is trying to. They are even using this race for AGI, so general AI, and there are a lot of people saying, like scientists saying, we are far away from that. And then there are a lot of people saying, oh, it's around the corner, right? I would say around the corner is marketing. Just clickbait or grabbing attention. And actually, basically, we don't know. That's a point. People try to put the Moore law, like saying, hey, here, see, we have a doubling of computing power every X years, and it's accelerating, and we see the same correlation with AI advancements. We still don't have a clear definition of what intelligence is. So what allows us to do what we are doing, because we are autonomous, right? But we are not 100% correct. So we do errors. And we kind of, if we don't survive, so some people don't survive that, just to keep that clear. That's why making an estimate about, I think there are other ways to get to the beach scenario, faster ways than waiting for AI.
Okay.
And being from the financial area, I think when you learn to let money work for you, then you have exactly that. I think that's a faster way right now.
So still some ways. Okay, then that's a good conclusion. Thank you again, Kalim, for being here. Thank you again, Adrian, for being here. It was honestly like a really in-depth and rich episode with a lot of insights, hopefully with other executives in firms, partners, and also with builders to understand what is the landscape, what is happening right now, what could happen in the future. And thank you again for your time.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Pleasure. Lovely talking to you.
Kalim, thank you very much for being
Thank
with
you,
us
Adrian.
and for your insights.
Pleasure.
And
Pleasure.
Yasser, thank you very much.
Looking
Okay,
forward.
so